Right, hello. Welcome down to Dorset, Clay Pigeon Raceway. It is a pain in the arse to get here, but when you do get here, you're greeted by quite a nice circuit, actually. I quite enjoyed driving the track. We're just watching the lightweights. Here we all are, heavyweights huddled together. A little bit nippy today, but we're watching the lightweight final. We're watching Fraser Brunton and Dante Dillon in particular. We know those guys from Sandown Park days. Dante got shoved out wide there, but I think they both ended up having a pretty good day, a pretty good A final in the end. If you want to know how not to drive this circuit, then keep watching because I've got it all in store for you. Right, so here we are, outside line, starting P8. This is Heat 4. We're starting behind Joe Holmes, who is, absolutely the fastest guy in this championship. We move to the right as early as possible and try and get up onto the inside line. Now, we've actually done Joe Holmes off the line. Now, that is not going to last long, let me assure you of that, but not a bad start. In all three of our heats today, we're starting on the outside. Now, it's an absolute nightmare to start on the outside. This, perhaps more than any other track, is always a nightmare to start on the outside. Joe's going to come back through me here, no point holding him up. Outside, particularly at this track, is an absolute nightmare to be on. So many people get forced wide. Rounding lap number 1, and oh, look at this, we're going at least 3 wide, but there's about 5 of us all goggled together. Goggled, is that a word? Anyway, we make it through, we make up 1 place, but Adam Wright there obviously sees this all kicking off in front of us. Good vision from him, and he makes it through. And already, can you see, look how slow we are. Adam Wright goes up the inside of this guy here. This guy comes back at him, so that's exactly what you should be doing if someone gets up you on the inside. Now here's Tim Williams around the outside of me. I actually got a contact warning in lap 1. I wasn't really sure why. I mean, I was obviously making a bit of contact with people, but it's just kind of lap 1 sort of rubbing, isn't it? Everyone's going to the same bit of track, so I wasn't really sure why I got that. Anyway, it rattled me a little bit, and I didn't defend from C1 Tim Williams here as much as I should have done. I don't know, you live and learn, don't you? That's going to be a little bit of a theme for this video. So theme for this video is Tim goes for a move up this guy, and this guy again comes back at him. Again, exactly the right thing to do there. Theme for this video is using karting for emotional resilience. Because today did not go well. So I think you can probably see already that I'm not really particularly fast. First time I've ever been here. It's not a circuit that I knew particularly well. And down it in testing, it was an absolute nightmare. Really struggled to find a nice balance with the kart I had. And I was really, really slow. Obviously, first few laps, never been somewhere before, you need to learn the circuit, in terms of lap times I was well down, really, really far down, quite a considerable way off the pace, and I was really worried. I didn't feel comfortable, I didn't feel good in the kart, didn't feel good in the position that I got myself in, which was sort of pretty close to the bottom, not coming into this heat with very much confidence at all. One of the issues that I had, and this was also an issue at Wilton Mill. I don't know if it's a circuit or if it's just because the tyres are sort of nearing the end of their natural life. These Club 100 tyres do work hard. We work them hard, and the tyres I suspect were going to be thrown away after this weekend because there was basically no rubber left on them, They weren't yielding that much grip, and last time out, Rye House, very high grip circuit, really enjoying the kind of conditions there. It seems to be that high grip circuits, my driving style suits really well. Low grip circuits, I tend to really, really struggle. So actually throughout the course of today, I changed my driving style, and if there's one thing to be pleased about for today, it is that although the pace was poor, it did actually get better. By the end of the final, I won't say which final I was in actually, so it'll kind of ruin it a bit, but by the end of the final, I was setting fairly competitive lap times. It wasn't the fastest lap time, but I was up kind of more close to where I usually am. Yeah, kind of like more similar to where I normally find myself. Whilst I normally try and keep the steering really still, actually I found that hustling it into the entry of some of the corners, I don't find it yet, by the way, which is why all these boys in front are clearing off ahead of me, even though they're scrapping. Whilst I'm learning how to drive this low grip circuit or low grip conditions, hustling it to just get the nose in, and then getting it straight so I can power out straight. That was actually working really well. But it wasn't sort of until sort of at least heat 2, heat 3, where this was becoming more apparent. Nothing else happened, finished P8, so we'll move on to heat 2. Now we're off on the way, and to get sandwiched here. I'm trying desperately to get to the inside line, but we had our nose up in the air, and have a look at this. Oh, getting pushed wide. Oh, and it's all gone wrong. Quelle surprise. It's all gone wrong. We have to take to the grass. We've lost loads of places. No idea how many places actually. We started this one in P10, but no idea how far down we are. But not a great start. So work to do then. We've got Antonio just ahead of us, fellow Mango mate. Antonio, look up the inside, but have to back out. That would have been curtains for both of us had I kept my nose in there. But anyway, we're hello Antonio. Yeah, he gives us a little wave. He knows that we're behind. We've got Simon Fuller, just in the grey helmet on our left-hand side. Now, Antonio goes up the inside. I try to follow, but Simon obviously doesn't realise I'm there, turns in. Now, totally my fault. I have to say, really huge apologies to Simon. Simon was actually my buddy for the day, so I was looking after him. It was his first sprint series kind of debut. So if there's one person you really shouldn't be taking out, it's the person you're supposed to be looking after. Antonio just gets held up at the apex there, and we're able to go past him. Lee Henderson up ahead of us says, let's go forward together. Lee was actually in our first heat, although we were so far behind, struggling so much with pace, that we really didn't see very much of him. But again, as I mentioned earlier, during the course of the day, I was able to get a little bit quicker, find my way around a little bit, change my driving style to see what worked. I'm going to look up the inside of Lee here. Can we get it done? Well, we get it done on the brakes, but unfortunately, as has so often happened before, Lee does exactly the right thing and comes back at us on the exit. Very difficult to make that work, actually. You've really got it. If you are going to do someone on the brakes, it invariably means that you're going to be going in a little bit deep, and it's quite straightforward for them just to cut back at you. We've seen that happen a lot, haven't we, over the course of the day so far. We've got a small fly joining the action on the GoPro lens. Sorry about that, everyone. Welcome, small fly. If you could remove yourself, please, that would be great. Lee goes for the move up the inside, and the guy with the white helmet, we've got what looks like a pair of twins here. Again, just like when we tried to put the move onto Lee, Lee struggles to make the move stick, and remains in the position he was in. But it looks to me a little bit like sort of potentially we've got the makings of quite a good fight here. And again, we're in the slipstream of Lee. Really, you have to be sort of going around the outside of the first kink if you want the inside to Billy's blind. And it's not easy to do that unless you've got a massive kind of overspeed. You get terrible drive off the chicane there. Being able to speak to some of the C1 drivers, particularly Alex Pritchard, who I have to say has been very generous with his time, particularly at Lid. Now, I'm actually doing this voiceover after Lid, so Lid video is coming as well, where Alex was very, very good in that he gave me loads and loads of tips and advice and support, particularly in testing. And one of the things about my technique, which I realise has perhaps been holding me back, as Lee goes for the move up the inside, We're going to see if we can, I'll come back to this point in a minute, we're going to see if we can do this guy on the inside as well. And yeah, it looks at the moment like it's okay, but we know, don't we, that invariably it's going to be difficult to make it stick. I tried to loiter on the apex, but it doesn't quite work out. By loitering on the apex, I don't carry the speed through, and the subsequent left-hander gives this guy an opportunity. But he's gone a little bit wide there, he's a little bit squirrely, he's looking over his shoulder, he knows that there's a predator coming. Here we are. Can we do anything? Oh, not quite brave enough on the brakes. This is a really, really low grip corner, Billy's blind. First corner here. Very, very low grip. It always has been, apparently. Yeah, just back to my previous point. One thing that Alex mentioned. Oh, no, hang on, watch this. Oh, just run into the back of the guy in front who was taking, who was doing the sort of up and under. And that delays us so much that we lose one place to Mike Bodnar, and also Antonio comes back through as well. So we're down a couple of places. Such fine margins, but really, really easy to get it wrong. Antonio goes for the move up the inside on Mike, and he's done it. He's got a great drive. That's going to delay them ever so slightly. So it's going to be all about now setting up the move as Mike goes back through on Antonio. It's all about setting the move up into the hairpins. Now we've got good drive. We're going to go through, we're going to go up the inside on the pair of them. Can we make it stick? Well, we've done Mike, but we haven't done Antonio. Antonio comes back at us and gets the switchback. So back up one place. Can we do anything about Antonio? I really like Antonio's helmet, actually. I have to say, I really like the tricolore. Is that how you say it? Tricolour. Little nod to his Italian heritage. I've seen this Italian heritage. It's got a kind of Italian name and Italian flag on his helmet. So I'm going to go ahead and assume. Right, so going to go back to Alex Pritchard's very useful technique. Because just here again, I get bad drive. Now, what Alex had sort of noticed is that if, or sometimes, I am hitting curbs whilst the kart is not straight. If you do that, then you're going to lose the rear. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to loop it round, but you're definitely going to get some kind of slide on. Every time you slide like that, you're going to be losing anywhere between 1 to 3 tenths. And that is a massive problem. Final lap boards out here. Antonio goes for the move. Oh, it doesn't quite come off though. He had to go for it, didn't he? I think the guy up ahead was slightly spooked by that as well. So we get 2 places on the beginning of the final lap here. We're just going sort of semi-defensive, in fact quite defensive, because we had to take a very shallow line into the hairpin. Sorry, not hairpin. The chicane. Making us slow into the hairpin, but it looks to me like we're going to do it. Now I believe in this heat I made my way back up to P12. Now, I think I was sort of almost last right at the start when we all had to go off, yeah, back up to P12, but not great. Anyway, this heat now, our final heat, heat 12, is our front start. So can we do anything here? So again on the outside line, but starting right up near the front, we've gone down 1 place to Kurt Holmes, but that's not a disaster, starting on the outside line, and actually we're getting back again. We're going to push Matt Salmon through. Joe Holmes goes up the inside of us, but momentarily we're in the lead, unfortunately though, there's Joe on our left hand side. He's actually quite a long way now. I'm really, really wide. Matt Salmon again back through. Now I believe Matt is actually, or was actually my 1,000th subscriber, so if I'm right, then thank you very much, Matt. Nice to race with you, although I didn't actually get to say hello and thank you at the event. I just recognised the M26 sort of on the back, looking back at the footage now. We're on Matt's bumper, and can we do anything? Oh dear, what's happened there? We haven't got a great great exit, and again I think that's possibly as a result of not being entirely straight, booting the gas on and being on the curb at the same time. So something about my technique that I need to improve there. And you can see how much really that's cost us. We've not had a great lap though, have we? Really, Matt goes a little bit wide there though, and that's potentially going to give us the run. We've got great slipstream. Matt, very aware, doesn't chop our nose off, doesn't run us out of road, and that's job done. We're actually up into P2 now, so back where we started. We've got Joe Holmes up ahead of us. He's putting some distance between us and the rest of the pack, isn't he? I mean, that's all right though. We're not really racing Joe Holmes, are we? We are in the same race, but we're not really giving him much of a race. But we've still got a whole load of very, very high quality drivers behind. We've also got Kurt Holmes, brother of Joe. We've got people like Steve Lindley. We've got Scotty Parker, fellow Mango mate. Now he knows this place really, really well. Actually, Scotty does. So he was really, really quick here. But we're just going to have to yield the place there to Adam Wright. You couldn't really see it, but Adam was on our inside. You can only go side by side. We've got some footage from behind. Steve Lindley on our outside, and then 3 into 1 doesn't go. Kurt Holmes was making the move up the inside as well. I was trapped in the middle, nowhere for me to go. I could see that Steve was there on my outside. He was alongside. Kurt was trying to do the pair of us on the brakes. 3 into 1 doesn't go. Steve unfortunately gets turned around. Now I wasn't very happy with that, but that's nothing compared to what I'm about to experience. I got the penalty for that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that me getting bounced into Steve Lindley resulted in me getting the penalty. And I have to admit, from this point onwards, I totally lose my head. When I said earlier that using karting to help build emotional resilience, this is kind of what I mean. I haven't driven very well all day, and so I've not had the best day. But seeing that penalty come up and feeling that I'd been wronged, I totally lost my head. There's not going to be some pretty driving now. I think I do actually get another warning on this lap. Yeah, I do. Yeah, contact warning in that lap. No idea what I did to deserve that. But because I'm so frustrated now, I do some very sloppy driving and hit this curb here, that sausage curb. Now, if you hit that sausage curb, you get a warning, and then if you hit it again, it's cost us a place as well, isn't it? But if you hit it again, keep hitting it, then it will be a penalty. So we've already picked up a 6th place penalty for causing another driver to come to a halt. We've also got a contact warning, no idea why. And then we've got, we should be getting now a deserved, we've got another one. We've got a deserved warning for hitting that sausage curb. I have to say as well, I know I've said this on the channel before, I've no idea why kart circuits build kart-destroying curbs on their tracks. They own the ecosystem. Why would you build something that's going to damage either other people's equipment or your own? Because presumably Clay Pigeon have their own set of corporate karts. You get your stag doos coming down, smashing them over that sausage curb. I don't know why you'd do that. But perhaps there's something I'm missing. Maybe the grass is worth more than the corporate karts or something. I don't know. But again, you can see here, I've basically given up. I at this stage, I sort of wanted to just park it. I actually remember a time when I don't know if you guys remember it, in lockdown. All the motorsport obviously came to a halt during the COVID lockdown, and a lot of the racing drivers, we're going to lose another place here. A lot of the so actually this guy, I think we were, if it's the same guy, we were sort of pretty significantly quicker in the first heat, but our driving is now so poor, so sloppy that we are very, very much slower. Going back to my previous point. The drivers all went onto iRacing, onto the sim, onto F1 2020, presumably it would have been, that's how they sort of still brought motorsport content to the fans. And there was one American driver, I can't remember his name now, but he rage quit Within about 10 minutes, I think he was a NASCAR driver. He rage quit, and within about 10 minutes, one of his main sponsors had put on Twitter that they would be no longer working with him because they didn't want to be associated with someone who gave up when things got difficult. So that was kind of going through my mind. Not that I am a professional racing driver. Tim Williams goes through again. Quite surprised. Like, oh no, we got a hit actually. Look at that. We got hit from behind, and we lose another 4 places. So again. Oh no! Then I lose my head again, frustrated by that, and hit that sausage curb a second time. So that is going to be now another penalty, and it's a 4-place penalty. When I looked at it, it said for repeated contact, but I can only assume because unless the marshals think it's my fault for getting rammed off into turn 1. I can only assume it's repeated contact with the curb, which would make sense. But anyway, we're going to pick up 10 places worth of grid penalties now, and we're going to be last. So yeah, I was absolutely fuming, but yeah, it is what it is, though, isn't it? So we're going to be in the C final. We've never been in the C final before. Had to happen sooner or later. We've always been in the B final. But on the outside again, we're starting 4th. Now these 2 guys just there get together and hold each other up. So we're going to have the inside line, and we're going to follow Luke Elliott now into chicane, and we're going to go up to P2. Now at this stage, if I want to get up into the B final, then I need to finish in the top 4 places. So that where we are at the moment is absolutely fine to get back into the B final. But obviously, if the opportunity presents itself, then we're going to do whatever we can to make the positions up. And you may see that that Luke's kart was very, very kind of wayward, and I spoke to Luke afterwards, and he said that his throttle was sticking. He had a little bit of a sticky throttle, particularly when the kart was hot. It wasn't happening so much when the kart was cold. We get it wrong over the curb again. We've got yellow flags actually as well, so not much we can do. But look at Luke's rear there. It's really like he's unable to slow the kart down. We've got someone recovering their kart. I think there was quite a big accident there actually, and that's why I think we're going to have yellows for a lap or 2. Again, following Luke into lap 3, aware that he's either got sort of I wasn't aware about his throttle problem, but aware perhaps he had some handling problems. Again, there he loses the rear on the way in. We're just going to back out. We don't quite have enough kart alongside to justify it. We were asked to go through their single file, so unless you're sort of all the way alongside, not really much you can do other than back out. Luke leaves the door open here. We're going to go up the inside, and that's job done. So now we're in P1 in the C class. Chin up a little bit here. I'm sort of like I'm getting over my mopiness and my irritation, and beginning to feel a little bit more pleased with myself. A little bit of a sort of confidence boost after confidence had been very low for most of the day, and from this point onwards, it's just going to be all about trying to get my head down and put some distance between myself and some of the karts behind, because as you can see, well, there's 2 sets of yellows here. I don't know if that was a kart failure or if it was crash damage or what happened there. But yeah, those yellows were out for a little while. Now, I think it's either this lap or the next lap. What's going to happen? If you just have a look on the right-hand side, you see that black barrier there? That is what everyone assumed was a tyre wall. However, as it turns out, as poor old Jockey Wilson found out, that is actually a solid wall. And Jockey went in there hard at presumably was 50 plus miles an hour. Really big impact. So we had full course yellows for a number of laps, and this is the restart. Now apparently I actually had quite a significant lead over the field at the start of the full course yellow, and I slowed down too much. And after a couple of laps, so we're racing again now, obviously, I turned around and I saw Adrian Ray just behind me and into the first corner. I'd seen him there, I'd seen him behind me. I panicked and lost the rear, and Adrian got up the inside. Now, Adrian absolutely deserved to win this race. He had the fastest lap time. Absolutely no qualms in sort of saying that he definitely deserved to win. So I'm just going to follow him around. This is still good enough to get into the B final, and actually this is where it finishes. We're into the B final. So now here we are into the B final. So I finished second. So there's a couple of boys behind me as well. But for the first time today, we're on the inside actually, and oh, look at this. It's your usual classic smashy. We actually lose a place as a result of being off the inside. There's a guy going wide, so we're back up one position. We're going to stick to the inside here. Normally if something goes wrong, it's going to go wrong on the outside of the circuit, so we give up a little bit of speed, but as you can see there, it has all gone wrong, and we've gone up, I don't know how many places, maybe 5-6 places, something like that. So a decent enough start there. We're still not in single file yet, are we? But soon to be there, I hope. Here we are. So not sure where we are exactly now. So started sort of second to last, third to last, and now it's just going to be a matter of trying to get our head down and pick off as many as possible. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've developed a little bit more confidence around this track. Now we've got yellow flags out, can't go for the move. A little bit more confidence now, and one thing that I've noticed, I had a really good year last year, in terms of what my expectations were compared to how I did. I was starting at the back in C3, the real hard racing was going on ahead of me, and I was just picking off people who were sort of falling off, getting nerfed off, and my pace was okay. I mean, my pace for C3 was really good, so I was podiuming as we go for the move there, podiuming in almost every round. So I had a really good year, but I was protected, I think, from my weakness, which actually is racecraft. And I decided in this race that I was going to make some direct moves. Now, I wasn't going to be taking anyone off. As Adrian Ray goes around there, poor old Adrian, and actually we go around the outside of Mike Bodner, so we're up 3 places on this lap as well. So we've gone up a number of places so far. Racecraft is sort of my weakness, because as I found out at Rye House, I mean, pace is all right. It really depends actually. My pace here wasn't good. My pace in some tracks hasn't been good this year. Wilton hasn't been good. My pace wasn't good here. It's the low grip tracks where I really suffer. But at places like Rye House, Buckmore, actually again Lyd, my pace was reasonable, but obviously you haven't seen the Lyd video yet. The reason that I'm not sort of further up is probably because of racecraft, and that's what I need to work on. So I've decided that I'm going to use this B final to try and make some direct moves. I think we're getting pushed wide a little bit there. Look how much time we've lost. We might have had someone hit us in the rear. Like I said, I'm not looking to be aggressive or take anyone else out. But what I tend to do, and I think I'm going to demonstrate this in a moment, is sort of go for moves and then sort of think, oh, is it on? Is it not on? Is it on? And end up sort of like holding both myself up and the person who's getting overtaken up. I think we'd be far better off making really clear-cut moves, making sure they happen, and then getting our head down and getting on with it again. So that's the sort of next thing on the agenda for improvement. And I like having sort of a list of things to improve on. To borrow a motorcycling saying, happiness isn't around the corner, happiness is the corner. So you've got to enjoy the journey of improvement, haven't you? And again, this is what I'm saying. It's like karting's great for building upon the life skills that that someone pushing the thick end of 40 hasn't already developed. These two guys up ahead get together, and that's just going to delay the guy on our left slightly. So we're going to go up the inside. He's still there. We're going to have to give him room on the outside. So again, I wouldn't even say that's a necessarily clear-cut move, and as evidence of that, we've got someone else coming up at us on the right-hand side. But there, we just take another hit, and difficult to know who it was who was responsible for that hit. Oh, this guy eats tyre barrier, so we have to take evasive. We just miss that guy, but we're down 6 places there. And go back up 1 due to the tyre wall sandwich that a guy on the left-hand side decided to have. Not sure if he got pushed into that or what, but nasty one that, wasn't it? Frustrating again. Work to do. It did seem today a little bit like you could do whatever you wanted into turn 1, shove people off, take out your mentee, down at the hairpin, and that sausage curve almost. It seemed like that was the only place that was being looked at. We've got yellows here so that the marshals can put the tyre barrier back. So no racing for now. Got work to do to get past the 5 guys who went past me after the tapping into turn 1. Need a pregnancy test. We tap so hard. Trying to keep my emotions under control here, and it's an opportunity for some overtaking practice, because that is what I need practice in doing. Like I said, pace still needs work, but definitely need some practice for overtaking. Guy up ahead of us, he was just a foot over to the right, or half a foot. It was enough to dissuade me from going up the inside. So sometimes I think in these videos it almost you don't really see the full sort of kind of what's the word? What I mean is the minutiae of what that's not the word I was looking for, but minutiae of racecraft and what makes a quick lap time. I think we've just done the guy in the turquoise and black suit again in the same way for the second time, as he got held up. We're in the slipstream of the cart ahead. We're going to go for it this time. This is what I mean by a direct move. Balls deep on the brakes, and make it work. Don't sort of go in to the apex side by side with someone and be sort of rubbing up against them and being worried about taking them out, because all you're going to do is delay them. You're going to push them wide and probably get a penalty. I think what you need to do is just again, not lunge if it's not on, but if it is on, I think you're better off just making clear-cut moves rather than mucking around on the apex. 2 guys up ahead have started to have a fight as well, so we've just been brought back into play a little bit, and we're able to make a little bit of room up in the braking zone into turn 1. We're quite aggressive on the brakes there into turn 1, and we've got the run down into the hairpin. So what can we do? We dive left, dive right again, again another good clean direct move. We get to the apex first. No contact there, but here we just get a little bit overexcited. I suddenly think I'm God's gift to overtaking, but that move was not ready, so that was an ill-advised manoeuvre there, and it's cost us a lot of time, hasn't it? So again, this is what I'm saying. The racecraft is not there yet, is it? We need some more practice on this. And again, I'm having to go a little bit defensive. Actually, the guy up ahead gets it wrong. He goes very wide. Like I mentioned earlier, it really costs you a lot of time. If you around the outside of Billy's blind, you get very, very little grip. But we've lost a place there. So I mean, that place is getting lost. All right, we've gone up a place again. So out of the places we lost originally, the initial 6 places we've lost, we've regained 5 of them. But this guy up ahead of us, this might be Glen Orford, I'm not sure. Sorry if it's not. But yeah, we've lost 1 place. Losing that place to this guy up ahead really started with the ill-advised move that I tried to put on the guy up ahead in the black suit in the infield hairpin. And that really brought this guy into play. So can we do anything? Are we able to stick with him and wait for an opportunity? Maybe he'll make a mistake. maybe not. Maybe we can work together and see if we can catch Mike Bodner, who is up ahead, and both gain ourselves a position. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but not if we do that. We've gone very wide there. There was no contact in that one. I remember that. I just lost the rear, but here there is some contact. My rear got moved wide there, so yeah, a little bit frustrating. We're going to lose one place, possibly another place as well. There's a guy on our left-hand side, sorry, our right-hand side, and actually this is the guy that we overtook earlier. So we've lost 2 places, 3 places, yeah, so getting it wrong, a mistake by my own making, and then a little bit of contact has put us down 3 places again. It was close here, wasn't it? You know, but it's a good battle. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm almost a little bit by this stage philosophical. I've almost written this whole race weekend off because it had been so disappointing. You know, so I'm often I'm just enjoying the racing now. How long have we got left? 1 minute 43. So I'm going to say we've probably got about 3 laps left. Now I think in terms of pace, we can probably get at least 3 of the next 4 karts up ahead. But there's a reasonable gap now, isn't there? It's a pretty big gap. So the thing that I could hope for most is they start fighting. Now, one thing. Actually, no. I'm going to leave that final point just for the moment. I'm going to leave it. But what I will say is that we went up. I think it was about 8 positions. Where did I finish in this? P16 or something? Oh no, maybe was it? Oh, I can't remember. I'll look it up. But my pace in this heat was much better. My pace, I finished P16. I did a 42.30. So that was one of the quicker times in the B final. Not the quickest, but sort of one of the. There's a lot of people in the 42.3s, but yeah, I was a 42.30. So yeah, again, sort of like more typically where I usually find myself. But yeah, so P16. So you know, not ideal. Pretty slow this weekend. But for the first time ever on this channel, we've got some footage of an A final. So this is going to be courtesy of Alex Pritchard. So in a moment, this race is going to finish. We're not actually going to go up any more positions. We run out of time, but the A final is going to start. I'm going to strap the camera onto Alex Pritchard. Now, unfortunately, because I was in two finals, the C and then the B final, the SD card and or the battery died. Can't remember which one it was, but essentially we lose the sort of most of the A final. But I was able to find the first few laps. Sorry, you might be able to hear the racing baby in the background. There she is, wanting to get on the video. I'm going to stick her in a kart soon. She's 1, but you know, I think she can start sooner rather than later. Anyway, here he is, the man of the hour, making his debut on Mango Motorsport. Hello, Alex Pritchard. Very good to see you. And here we are, rolling up now. So Alex is starting P5 on the inside line. Got Adam Wright and Joel Holmes just ahead of us. And Alex takes a very, very tight line on the inside. He's actually on the curb on the right, isn't he? And that works really, really nicely for him. So he's up into P3. We're in the slipstream of a kart ahead, and on the brakes into the hairpin, up into P2. So really, really excellent start from Alex here. We've got Anwar Burrell-Smith ahead. Now he's actually the heavyweight champion, but he hasn't really been competing in the heavyweights that much this year. In fact, I think this is the first time he's raced.
in the heavyweights this year. So but he's obviously come back and done very well. We've got yellow flags out, but what I might do is not talk for a moment, if I can manage that, because you'll notice that the way Alex kind of uses the brake and the throttle is much smoother than the way I use it. I think Alex, perhaps on the steering, is a little bit more direct. He's got more direct steering inputs. On the throttle, the blend of the brake and the throttle is really, really subtle and really clean, particularly into this corner here. So I don't know if you heard that, and I don't know if you heard any of sort of my efforts around that corner earlier, but it was it's much cleaner, much nicer. Now Joe Holmes goes through there. Alex did the right thing. He was defending inside of Billy's blind, but Joe had such a good run from the slipstream that there's not much that Alex could have done there. In actual fact, Joe goes on, because we're not going to see the whole thing, but Joe goes on to absolutely destroy everyone in this final. Last couple of races, Joe Holmes has been several tenths of a second quicker. Absolutely incredible. I don't know how he does it, but for the first time, Alex is one man who is sort of able to stick with guys like Joe Holmes a lot longer than I can. So really valuable to have Alex's footage. Now this A final, it made me laugh. I've cut it out actually because this is a very long video. But the A final, we did have to have a couple of goes at the start. Looks like there was some loading going on. No idea who it was. It was kind of as Joe goes up into the lead of the A final, and actually Kurt Holmes up the inside of us. Alex was actually saying that this car, he should have changed it. He did sort of notice a little bit that he had a lot of rear instability. As Kurt says, let's go forward together, catch the two up ahead. Alex is sort of good on the brakes. He's good in the slipstream and everything. But you'll notice that when it comes to the more twisty middle sector of the track, the one that we're going into here, he is suffering from a lack of overall grip, but particularly from the rear. So there you are. Adam Wright goes through there, and really it was really not much of a braking point into that corner. Alex is going to get a good run here. Can he do anything about Adam Wright? Unfortunately, he's got such a good run through the corner that he's not enjoying any slipstream. He is now, but just too late into the slipstream there, so not much he can do. But yeah, I mean, the engine on this car, it's absolutely fine. But if you have a look in the corners, Alex is not able to take the same amount of cornering speed as some of the other karts around him. So I think Alex was a little bit disappointed with his overall finishing position. But still, he finishes very, very high up in the A final. Sort of the sort of place that I could only dream of being. Do dream of being one day. But this is really, really valuable stuff. So I'm very grateful to Alex for sort of being the cameraman in the A final. We're in the slipstream again, but not quite close enough. Alex just files through Billy's blind behind Adam Wright and into the chicane. Like I say, really, really valuable. One of the real benefits, I think, with racing with Club 100 is the opportunity to race with drivers of this kind of caliber. It's definitely going to bring you forward further. But very sadly, that's the end of the footage. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you for the next one, which will be Lid.
Thanks for watching Mango Motorsport, a community for racing fanatics.